What is up? My name is Jake, and in this video, we're going to be asking the question of what is the best way to track weight loss? Is it the scale? Is it not the scale? What are the problems with traditional ways of tracking? And my whole point and goal of this video is for you to fully understand. One, I want to fix this common problem that I see with lots of people in my clients or just people in my DMs in general. And it's something that is a big problem if you don't treat it correctly or know what to do and know how to actually accurately track your weight. Because if you're not tracking, you don't know your progress, you don't know that you're progressing and losing body fat, right? So I want to ask you the question right now. What is the best way to track your weight loss? Like, what do you think? Ask yourself seriously. Is it the scale? Is it just looking at body fat percentage? Is it doing a skin fold caliper test? Is it doing an EVOLT or an in-body scan? What do you think is the best way? A DEXA scan, an underwater body weight, like body fat percentage thing. What do you think is the best way? So I would just want to say, if you said the scale, that's the wrong answer. Those other ones are different. They're on different levels. That's a different topic for a different day. But I want to talk about today about the scale specifically because a lot of people would say that the scale is the best way or the most efficient, simple way of tracking your body weight. So, what are the pros and cons of the scale? Think to yourself right now. Like, what are some of the upsides and the downsides of it? Because there are pros and there are cons. So, for the pros, it's trackable. Obviously, like it's a clear cut number you can see. When you just look in the mirror, it's like, do I look better today than I did yesterday? I don't really know. Maybe slightly if you notice anything big, but like the number on the scale, if it goes down, oh, that's good. If the number scale goes up, oh, that's horrible. A lot of people base their day on the scale because they do it first thing in the morning, and that dictates their day of it's today going to be a good day or am I going to be depressed today and not feel good and feel self-conscious and I need to work harder in the gym if the scale weight went up, right? It's accurate. It tells you your body weight, it's not usually not off by too much, and it's generally accepted as the normal way of tracking your weight. Like you see like shows like My Biggest Loser back in the day, if you're old enough to know those kind of shows and stuff. It's like, oh, scale went down, good job. So people still have that kind of mentality nowadays of scale needs to go down, otherwise you're not making progress. So the cons are a few of these. So it varies by hour. If you do it first thing fast in the morning, you're going to be light, and that's when I tell my clients to actually weigh themselves the first thing in the morning because you've been fasting all night, you don't have any food or anything getting in the way, which we'll get into later. But if you do it right after you eat lunch, you're going to weigh 5, 6, maybe even 8 pounds more, depending on how much you ate and what it was specifically. So it varies. It's kind of inconsistent because of that. It gives you a negative mentality, like I said before. Sometimes it makes people feel really bad about themselves or feel bad about their progress. Think about it. Like I've been in this place where like I was going to the gym for a very long time when I first started, for like a month, 2, 3 months, and like the scale was just either going up or staying the same. And I was like, I'm not seeing any progress. I want to quit. I'm dieting really hard, but I'm not getting any results out of this right away. It's almost like think about like when you're working a job, you get your paycheck at the end of your 2 weeks or whatever. You see, okay, I'm putting X amount of work in, I'm getting Y amount of results monetarily. But if you see the scale, you're thinking, okay, well, I'm putting in all the hours of the gym and dieting and suffering through this. I should get the number of the scale going down, right? It puts in this negative mentality because that's not always exactly what the real problem or the way of tracking should be. So I want to give you this example, this hypothetical, and I want you to put your thinking caps on with me. So let's say this guy here, he's about 30% body fat. Let's say that he eats the same amount of calories, that are the exact same. His maintenance calories, say that's 3,000 calories a day. He eats 3,000 calories a day every day for a month. We like scientifically track it, meal plan, all of his stuff. He burns the same amount of calories every day. Scientific, metaphorical, right? For a month. But at the end of the month, his weight goes up 5 pounds. Say he's like 200, he goes up to 205. Question to you is, how much of that weight was fat? 5 pounds? Was all of it fat? What's the difference? Also, we're saying that he's strength training as well. He's lifting weights 4 times a week. Only 4 times a week, though, for just an hour. Not too much. How much of that was muscle? If he gained weight, oh, maybe some of his muscle. If he's training, yeah, he's getting enough protein, he's eating at maintenance. Okay, maybe. How much do you think is muscle? Next question. Not everyone thinks about this. How much do you think was water weight? So it's all hypothetical, but in this example, here's the results. So say that this is his trend of body weight. Day one, somewhere between north of 195. Fluctuates a lot. So every single day he's hopping on the scale and looking. Say, for example, day one, he weighs in at 196. He weighs in on day three. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm 199 today. What is the matter? What is this from? Right? Even worse, he knew he started at 196. Day 14, he weighs 201. He's like, oh my goodness, what's happening? I'm eating at maintenance calories. Or like, I'm trying to lose weight, or no, he's not trying to lose weight. He's eating maintenance calories, but it's like I'm eating at maintenance. I should be staying the same. At the end, his body weight is up 5 pounds. So what is the difference? Like, how much of this is what, and what does this actually mean? So here's the body weight we saw before. Now, if we were to break down by 4 weeks in this whole entire month, how much of that is water? How much of that is muscle? So say he weighs this much in water here, it's spiked here week 2, maybe like end of week 2 or majority days of week 2. He was eating more poorly. That's about in here. And that caused things to spike. Still eating the same level of calories every day, keep in mind. But it's just about what he's eating that's making his water weight go up. Maybe he had more carbs, maybe he had more sugary foods, or maybe he's just having more sodium, things that hold on to water weight. And that's why the water weight went up here. But then it kind of settled back down into a normal range about week 3. Then we kind of see this kind of dip in weight, right? But there's an overall trend from here to here going up. So it's like, what does that mean? Now, interesting thing is his muscle mass went up, but only slightly, only slightly. So what does this mean? We know this is from the training. So take a break from that. A pound is a pound, right? This is 5 pounds and 5 pounds. But this is the difference between muscle and fat. So 5 pounds of fat and 5 pounds of muscle. They weigh the exact same. Obviously, it's 5 pounds, 5 pounds. But look at the size difference. Obviously, one looks uglier than the other, but this is internalized inside of our body. We can't see this. But look at which one takes up a lot more space. So, by this theory, and say that at the end of the 30 days, he pretty much almost looks very similar, because you're not going to get a crazy amount of results in the first month unless he's brand new to working out. Even then, it wouldn't be incredible. But just look at this difference here of how much volume fat takes up compared to muscle. So you can see people that don't work out and they have a ton of body fat, ton of belly fat, back fat, face fat, all that stuff, compared to people that work out. The person who works out, say they're the same height, the person who works out might weigh more than the guy who's actually overweight, but he looks bigger. This is because of that. Now, going back to my example, here's his body weight trend we saw before. Now we're introducing this third thing. Let's look at his body fat. So say we were able to find a way to scientifically just find his body fat number, like how much actually was on there. It went down. But wait, Jake, he's eating at maintenance calories. This doesn't make any sense. If you eat at maintenance calories, you should maintain the same body weight, right? Well, his muscle metabolism is what's being activated because he's weight training. So just because he's eating at maintenance calories, he's still slowly but steadily putting on little bits of muscle. This muscle burns more calories because when we go here, this requires almost no calories to keep in your body. This burns an additional amount of calories, maybe 10 calories more, 20, 30 calories more, something like that for that 5 pounds of muscle. So with this, that's just an example off the top of my head. But since you're increasing his muscle mass, he's burning more body fat despite being kept at maintenance calories. So therefore, even though his weight is up, it's mostly muscle, mostly water weight, but the body fat actually went down. He lost about, here it's 60, here it's 57. He lost 3 pounds of body fat. I know, like, well, Whippy, it's a lot, right? It's not really. But he's not even in a calorie deficit. If he was in a calorie deficit with this additional muscle metabolism, guess how much he could have lost? How much body fat he could have lost? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that incredible? So this is the muscle metabolism. This is how it works, and this works alongside a calorie deficit as long as you are strength training. So the people that do Ozempic, the people that just crash diet or just focus on dieting and don't want to go to the gym, or they just do light cardio instead, they don't actually weight train to put on muscle, or they don't eat their protein goal every day. They have two servings of chicken a day and think, well, I'm getting a lot of protein in. People like that, you might see them lose body fat, but they're going to have a lot harder of a time. Another thing too is their metabolism is not being increased with more muscle mass, because all they're doing is just getting rid of things. They're getting rid of this. They're not adding muscle, like barely any. If they're not training, they're really adding none. So you want to add more muscle mass and be strength training at least 4 times a week. I say 4 to 5 to increase your muscle metabolism, because this will bring your body fat down. Now, if he was on a calorie deficit, I can guarantee you this would be a lot lower and the muscle mass would be relatively the same. So this brings us back to the scale. If this man just saw the scale, first day 196, 30 days from then, like a month later, 201. Imagine this, like you're eating a good level of calories consistently every day, strength training 4 days a week for 4 weeks. That's like 32 times in that month. Wait a minute, no, it's not. That's wrong math. 4 times 4, 16. There we go. 16 times. You train 16 times in a month. You eat perfectly on your maintenance calories, hit your protein goal every day, but you're up 5 pounds. Would you quit? Like, genuine question. Would you just quit that month and be like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. I'm gaining weight. This is not good. But you can't see the stuff that's all going on inside. You don't actually know what's happening. Because if that man were to just rely on the scale every single day and make that show like how good of a day he's going to have, it's going to ruin everything. So don't be sad when the weight goes up. Don't be happy when the scale goes down necessarily. Instead, offer a solution, because we don't all have these super fancy scans. And I do think the scale is still a good measurement and way of tracking weight loss, but not in the way you think, not daily, not even weekly. If you look at it monthly, so actually we're going to get to another representation later so I can show you this, but if you look monthly, that gets rid of the outliers, because if you were to compare this day here to another day like a month later, you might be like, oh yeah, I lost body fat, gained body fat. It's so random. But if you take the average of the weight in here and compare this is just 1 month. Compare this to every month in the year, you can probably be consistently down, depending if you're doing everything right? That's how you know. That's why we track in the first place, to make sure everything is working correctly. So look monthly, and then if your actual scale weight is up, probably a bad sign. If it goes down, it's probably a good sign. But you don't want it to be too much. So to put this more into perspective and be less hypothetical, what specifically can you do to improve all these metrics to make sure that you're putting on muscle and cutting down body fat at the same time? Eat 0.75 grams per pound of body weight in protein daily. You can do 1 gram per pound of body weight. It's a little bit easier to remember that way. So for me, I'm like 180 pounds. I aim for at least 180 grams of protein every single day. I mostly get around 200, 210 every day, just because I want the more the merrier, which should work well for you as well. But at least 0.75 grams per pound of body weight in protein daily. So many people, so many clients I have in-person clients and online clients, and like, when I first meet people, they're like, oh yeah, I eat a lot of protein. I'm like, okay. We start tracking in MyFitnessPal and get to it, and then they're only getting like 16 to 30 grams a day. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. I can't imagine getting over 100. And it's like, that's what you need, dude. It's every single meal. It's just about implementing protein in every single meal. It could be a serving of chicken. It could be a serving of meat, but also it could be protein powder. It could be a protein bar, protein powder in a baking recipe, or in a mug cake, or in a cinnamon roll recipe. Like, I make these all kind of recipes for my clients and stuff, and I post my Instagram and stuff, so follow me there if you're not already. But it's just about getting protein in multiple times throughout the day. Because so many people, they don't eat correctly either. Like, they eat sporadically and like 1 to 2 times a day, but they eat super calorie dense meals with tons of calories in them that are not keeping them full, and they're not getting their servings of protein in either. So eat 4 to 5 times a day in smaller, lighter meals, but each one has 20 to 30 grams of protein. So a serving of meat, a serving of even just like a protein shake is super simple and easy. Like right now, I didn't really have time to make meals, so I had like a serving of carbs, and then I have this like protein shake, 30 grams. Easy. I can get this down like nothing. If you have a hard time getting down protein, you're like, oh, I can't get it in, just have a shake. You literally will be thirsty and want to drink it. So rant aside, second thing, train hard, 7 to 10 RPE. So RPE is rate of perceived exertion. Super sciencey sounding. All that means 10 RPE is like you cannot get another rep with good form. So you're doing bicep curls, you're hitting like 8 reps. In the 7th one is like this, and the 8th one you're like, that would be RPE 10. So 3 reps in the tank to 0 reps in the tank, like really hard, 4 times a week. That's going to guarantee. A lot of people just don't train hard enough, or they go till they slightly feel a little bit of burn, and they're like, okay, that's good. And then wondering whether they're not putting on muscle or getting results, because you got to actually push yourself, even if you're a beginner. Obviously, be safe and prioritize form as well. 150 minutes of cardio each week. 150, that's a lot. Oh my gosh. Let's divide that by 5. Let's see. That should be 30. Yep. It's 30 minutes a day. 15-minute walk in the morning, 15-minute walk at night. That's what I do. What you could also do, another thing I do is 15 minutes after my workout every day on the cardio, whatever you want to do. Now, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and it is hot. If you're watching this later in the season, it's winter, and you live in somewhere like Chicago or Ohio where it's like crazy snowy outside, or Canada, then go to the gym, which sucks. That's kind of the situation I'm in right now, because it's summer in Phoenix, like 110 degrees outside. It is hot. I don't want to go for a walk because I'm going to be drenched. So I have to go to the gym, but still doesn't leave room for excuses. It's just I do all my cardio once. So I do my lift, and then after my lift, 4 times a week, I do 45 minutes on the stationary bike. I like that. You can do it on the treadmill. You can do a stair stepper, whatever you like the most. Doesn't even have to be intense. I do it like 2 to 3 speed. I can go on my phone. I can read. I can do whatever. Same thing applies to you. It could be a walk if your weather is nice enough and you can do it. But 15 minutes in the morning and night. And then the days I don't have the gym, so the other 3 days, I still go into the gym and do 45 minutes just on the bike or treadmill or whatever by itself. So 150 minutes of cardio each week. This is actually the minimum for a healthy heart by, I think it's like the Heart Association that talked about you need at least 150 minutes per week to have a healthy heart. So aside from just like progress of cosmetics and wanting to look good and be healthy, it's like actually for your heart health and risk of disease, 150 per week should be the minimum. So overall, this is what I was referring to earlier when I was saying, like, if you look over a year's time, everything will be a lot more in line. So say that guy started 196. Month 1, say he gets down to there. Over time, you'll lose a lot. If you have a lot of body fat to lose, like I'm taking this guy for example. This is his photo I found. And he doesn't have a ton of fat to lose. He's probably about 18 to 20% body fat here. Here, he's probably about 11 to 9% body fat. So a substantial amount, but he also gained muscle as well. So what would happen in the first few months, like 1 to 5, is a lot of fat loss. Scale is going down consistently. Now in here, it's not happy straight directly down. It's going to be fluctuating a bit like we saw. But once you get past a certain point where this guy doesn't really have too much more body fat to lose, he's going to be gaining a lot more muscle. That muscle is going to stack and compound, and then he's going to be building more muscle. Obviously, it depends on his programming, but assuming he's in a calorie deficit, eating his protein goal every day, training hard 4 times a week, this is a general outline. And even though it's not going down as much as it's here, instead of getting discouraged, if he continues on over time, even though it's slight and minimal, 187 to 183, that's only 4 pounds. You'd be like, oh my gosh, only 4 pounds for 6 months? Oh my gosh, I would just quit. No, you're still making progress. Muscle weighs more than fat. He's putting on more muscle, and then he doesn't have as much fat to lose. So if you're more like this, kind of like a skinny fat type, which is what I was, you won't have so much body fat to lose. You'll get to a certain point a few months in of being consistent. I mean, like fully consistent, like tracking your calories every day, doing your cardio every week, like really, really in on it. Then after a few months, it'll start to level off, but it's actually not a bad sign. So hope you learned something from this video. Don't stress so much about the scale. It's not everything. Don't make your day like make or break on the actual scale itself. So use it as a general guidance and outline, but more specifically, I want you to look at stuff we talked about here. Prioritizing this stuff is the biggest thing you can do to prioritize and propel your success further this year, because it's summer. Like you got to be in shape. Like there's no excuses anymore. I don't like how many years has it been since you've actually been in shape, been comfortable taking your shirt off, going to the pool? For me, when I got out of shape, it was horrible. It was literally like years. And then like a few years ago, I was like, okay, I need to take things seriously. And I started doing research, watching videos just like this. Well, I didn't really have videos exactly like this. I kind of wish I did. That's why I make them now. But actually implementing this information, because you can just watch these kind of videos like mine all day, and have more information. The more time, you don't need more information. You need to actually execute and stay accountable and hold yourself to these things, because most of these things on this list, you're probably like, yeah, I knew that, Jake. I knew that. That's not brain science. I don't know why I said brain science, but I know it's not. It's more about just staying consistent with it. And how are you going to hold yourself accountable? How can you have someone there to hold you accountable? So I'll leave a link in the description if you want to apply for one-on-one coaching with me, where I can specifically help you. We'll hop on a call, discuss your goals, see where you're at, see if you're a good fit for the program. If you are, we'll get you onboarded. You can join my clients, and we'll be losing all your body fat and putting on tons of muscle. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.